Welcome to Click for IB Biology. Here we're looking at the theory of niche. There's a blank version of this presentation, a PDF, down in the description, where you'll also find 10 questions with answers and also some prompts that can be used in AI chatbots. So, theory of niche. The original definition of an ecological niche is widely accepted as being given by Hutchinson in about 1957. And if you notice that he includes this as a definition of the sum of all the environmental factors, that is both the biotic and abiotic, that determine where a species can live and reproduce, its distribution. Hutchinson's abiotic factors were the non-living components of the habitat, and here we have a list of the typical abiotic factors that may be affecting the distribution and indeed the abundance of any particular species. In addition to the abiotic factors, then there are also the biotic factors, the living components of which a species will experience in its niche, and these include features such as predation, competition, symbiosis, parasitism, and decomposition. Often one can think of these as the feeding relationships. In a model, our theory of niche is describing the distribution of a species, and in this particular model we have an abiotic factor on the x-axis of temperature and an abiotic factor of moisture on the y-axis. And the blue circle, the darker blue circle, represents what is known as the fundamental niche, in which the species can tolerate being in these locations. It's a potential range that the species can occupy, where there are density independent factors determined by the abiotic factors. Beyond the blue, the species has no tolerance for those conditions and cannot appear there at any time. Now, the fundamental niche is then modified to what is called the realized niche once we start to include the biotic factors which Hutchinson insisted upon. In the realized niche, the population will be more stable, and the oscillations, the changes of the population, will be more dependent upon density-dependent factors, the biotic factors. Of course, should at any time the biotic factors change, then the realized niche will also change. And of course, this is a feature of ecological interaction. If we look at the theory presented in a model here in terms of range and tolerance of species, which we've looked at before, then our fundamental niche is defining the upper and lower tolerances that a species can endure. The realized niche is more consistent with the optimal conditions in which it can exist and reproduce successfully. Beyond the optimal conditions of the realized niche, the species will endure some kind of physiological stress in which the population will be in a less optimal state of population stability and individual stress for the organism. The link is appearing to the next video in this sequence, where we look at modes of photosynthesis. Here's a chance to subscribe to the channel, please. That would be appreciated. And on the right hand side we have the playlist for this particular IB biology topic.